Hello my Wolfpack and welcome to a wild Pokemon theory. This theory is that NECROZMA was the one who created the Tapu legendaries. Now this is really crazy, but do bear with me because there is a fair amount of evidence and I'm pretty sure that it is a thing. I came into this one when I was researching another theory about NECROZMA because obviously Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have just been revealed and NECROZMA looks like it's going to be the main focus. So I'm looking into a couple of theories there which will be coming out over the next week or so. So this theory kind of prefaces with NECROZMA is actually a god, a celestial being which has been dedicated to deity by an ancient organisation, which we can see it from its Pokédex entry in Pokemon Sun. It says, reminiscent of Ultra Beast, this life form apparently sleeps underground. It is thought to have come from another world in ancient times. So potentially another world, another planet, maybe Mars, you know, any planet in the solar system. It's not another universe, it's another world. So we've already basically confirmed that it's not an Ultra Beast because the Beast Balls do not work on it. It's thought to have come from another world in ancient times, so a long time ago back then, when people would have been seeing the magic and kind of craziness of everything. They would have been creating deities and they would have been looking up to things that were mythical. Now this theory goes that NECROZMA is actually a necromancer, which a necromancer is someone that can reanimate the dead or like control the dead basically, which that is necromancy, NECROZMA. That was the first thing I thought when I first heard the name. Now this does really kind of fit into some other bits with NECROZMA. So NECROZMA is a psychic type, which would make sense. It can use its psychic abilities to actually control and manipulate these Pokemon, or humans as well. It can just control the dead using its psychic abilities. That makes a lot of sense. Also, it's a celestial being from another world, so it could have completely different powers to the Pokemon that we have seen, and it is revered as a legendary Pokemon. Therefore, it must have some extra-ness to it, which would mean that it may have these extra abilities. But I'm going to take this one step further, and I think NECROZMA is actually one of the Hawaiian gods called Lolup. I think it's Lolup, or Olopue, or Pu. I can't speak Hawaiian, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But this is the god who basically looked like a kite, well, was a kite crossed with a stingray, and is to do a lot with necromancy. So basically, what I have read is that it's involved in the rite of defecation of the dead and restoration of life to the dead. So bringing people back from the dead, getting rid of spirits and stuff. That is essentially what the necromancer is, and that is what Lolup does. So this makes sense that NECROZMA could be this deity, this god that was put there, although it doesn't look like this kite or stingray. However, that is just one manifestation that it's had, and Pokemon is a little bit crazy and they will completely change things. We don't know. But there was also another part of this which really made me think that the Tapus were related. So it's also said that Lolu chose the dead to become guardian spirits. So guardian spirits, the island guardians of the Alola region. So what I'm suggesting here is that there were 4 Pokemon that actually died. So a chicken, a bull, a butterfly, and a fish. I'm not sure what fish Tapu Finning's based on, but they have all died, and possibly in a big battle, maybe with Ultra Beasts, and I'll get a bit more into that later on, trying to explain how like the Ultra Beasts do kind of feed into this a little bit and the protection aspect. But my thought is that NECROZMA actually gave a piece of itself to these 4 Pokemon and revived them, brought them back, and they then became the guardian spirits, the island guardians of Alola. So essentially NECROZMA was kind of the protector of the Alola region in a way, and it makes sense for him to have kind of the 4 soldiers of the apocalypse. This is a different situation, I know, but it's like it's got 4 followers who are helping to protect Alola, each of the islands, whilst it's asleep basically, because it's as suggested in its Pokédex entry earlier in Pokemon Sun, has been asleep. It used its necromancy powers to actually be able to revive these 4 Pokemon from their deaths, which is something that we have seen before. In the Burn Tower, there were 3 Pokemon who did die, and they were brought back to life as Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. So we have seen something similar to this before, and it is possible that this is a thing. So you're probably thinking, why do you even think this? How can you even compare the Tapus, who are sweet and innocent, with NECROZMA, who is seen as outrageously aggressive and a legendary from another world? How can I make that association? Well, there's actually a couple of little things that I've put together. So, first of all, the colour schemes, like all the bodies of the Tapus in not the shells, the actual bodies, are the same colour as NECROZMA. They are all black, which, yes, that is a very tenuous link, I know, because a lot of Pokemon do have black on them, but they are predominantly black, and it also, there is evidence in the Pokedex entries. Now, I have spent a fair bit of time looking through Pokedex entries in the last couple of hours, and I have seen that NECROZMA and the 4 Tapus actually all have very aggressive Pokedex entries, which is really quite strange when you think about it, because a lot of them do not have any, like, aren't shown to be aggressive in the games, or I don't know if in the anime because I haven't watched the anime. But in NECROZMA's moon entry it says, light is apparently the source of its energy. It has an extraordinarily vicious disposition and is constantly firing off lasers. Extraordinarily vicious, yes, that is aggressive as hell. But there is a lot more to this. The Tapus, again, have very aggressive entries themselves. So Tapu Lele is in the Sun Pokedex entry. It says, this guardian deity of Akala is guilelessly cruel. I can't say the word. I know I did have to look up the word, and it means innocent. So it's innocently cruel, and I'm not sure like what that really means. But the fact that it's cruel kind of suggests some kind of like underlying negative, aggressive potential issue there. And then we do have Tapu Koko's Pokemon Moon entry, which says it confuses its energy by flying too quickly for the eye to follow. It has a hair-triggered temper but forgets what made it angry an instant later. Angry, aggressive, temper. Literally, these are all feeding into very aggressive personality traits, and they came from the NECROZMA is what I'm theorising. So we have Tapu Bulu's moon entry, which is it is the guardian deity of Ula Ula. Is a lazy Pokemon. It commands plants to immobilize its foes and then deals them a savage blow with its horns. So basically attacking things savagely, and like it's a lazy Pokemon, but it's going out of its way to be extra vicious in a way. And then we have Finny's Sun entry. The dense fog it creates brings the downfall and destruction of its confused enemies. So it's creating this fog to actually potentially kill and destroy its enemies, which is terrifying. It shows that all of these have an aggressive underlying feature, and this has come from NECROZMA giving its part of its body, or reanimating them. They have become more aggressive. We don't know obviously if this is the case, but they could be extinct Pokemon now, because as you know, Pokemon do go extinct. Kabutops, any of the fossil Pokemon basically show this. And I've looked at all the legendary Pokedex entries for Sun and Moon, and the only other ones I've seen that have an aggressive entry are Pheromosa and Guzzlord, which they are just two other ones which they don't fit into this theory, but the rest of them don't have any kind of aggressiveness really mentioned in them, like outright this is an aggressive Pokemon. So it isn't a very common trend for the Pokedex entries to be overly aggressive, and I feel that it is in these cases. Also, further to this, we actually have a similarity in the Pokedex entries again with kind of a source of energy, or storing energy, or absorbing some form of energy. Now this is something that's mentioned in all 5 of them, and I haven't seen it mentioned in any other of the entries. So again, we have Lele's Sun Pokemon entry, which is, I'm just going to read the last bit. It's the fragrant aroma of flowers is the source of its energy. Then we've got Finny, who it says the ocean currents are the source of its energy. 2, the source of its energy. Going back to NECROZMA's moon energy, it says light is apparently the source of its energy. Now that is 3 times the source of its energy has been mentioned. And then we are going on to the Sun entries for both Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu. So Koko's entry suggests the guardian deity of Mele Mele is brimming with curiosity. It summons thunderclouds and stores their lightning inside its body. So that's storing of the energy. And then Bulu's Sun entry is it pulls large trees up by the roots and swings them around. It causes vegetation to grow and then it absorbs energy from the growth. So again, absorbing this energy, all mention of kind of energy, which isn't commonly mentioned in other Pokedex entries. None of the other legendaries have any mention of the absorbing or storing or source of energy. So it's weird that these 5 had this kind of relationship in this sense. In these Pokedex entries, there's 2 relationships I've already found, and I've only been working on this theory for a couple of hours. There's probably far more relations that can be seen between these things. So another question you might be asking is, if NECROZMA is aggressive, then why would it want to help humans? Well, the only theory I can come up with this is that it actually liked humans. It came to Alola and was revered as a deity, as a celestial being that was amazing, and it's kind of potentially marooned on the Earth. I mean, you find it in 10 Carat Hill, which looks suspiciously like a crash site, a crater, where something could have landed. So this could have come from outer space, landed, and not be able to get back out. Therefore, it's possible that it's marooned there, and it actually has learned to live with the humans and decide that it doesn't, like, because of how it was treated so well that it doesn't have to kill, it doesn't have to get rid of them. But its aggressive personality can go more towards things like the Ultra Beasts, which potentially are the things that actually caused it to wake up when there was the massive Ultra Beast wormhole situation in Sun and Moon where you had to do post-game. And then post that you could then go and catch NECROZMA. So did NECROZMA then begin to wake up during these events and dig out from underground, as mentioned in its Sun entry? And this falls back to actually being there to protect the Alola region, because it's there to help get rid of the Ultra Beasts, and the Guardian Spirits, the Island Guardians, are there to actually help and get rid of these Ultra Beasts. They are trying to protect the islands from these Ultra Beasts. So it suggests that these 5 entities are actually working together against the Ultra Beasts, which may have been something that happened years and years and years ago in the first battle, where these 4 Pokemon died and were revived with the necromancy power of NECROZMA, and were left to be the guardians of each of the islands in the Alola region. So obviously this is just a theory. I don't know if any of you guys have any theory on that. I don't know if there's anything canon on how the Tapus were created. I don't believe there is. I haven't come across anything. If there is, please do link it to me, because I would love to have a read of it. And also, with the release of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming in November, there is going to be a massive focus on NECROZMA, as we've already seen in the reveal trailer. We had like 10 seconds worth of footage, but there was so much revealed in there, which I've got many theories on the back burner currently, but this one was just like, oh my god, it fits together so easily, so well, so brilliantly, that it has to exist. There has to be something. There must be something there. But hopefully we will see some kind of like storyline behind NECROZMA, because that will be amazing to see if it is related to the Tapus in this sense. But yeah, thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed this, please do like, go ahead and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, because I'm going to be producing so many theories. Every single video we're going to get, I'm going to be coming out with more and more theories, because I really like theorizing things, and I would love to see what is going to be happening in the Alola region next time, and if I get it right, because I have had theories in the past and they have been correct, which is really like strange. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. I'm going to get out of here, so hope you've had a good one, and I will see you soon.